Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Shopping on the Internet, brought to you by the Orland Park Public Library. I'm just gonna let everybody give it a bit to let everybody join in. I'll give a bit about 5 minutes. I'm Joe, by the way. All right. Welcome. This is Shopping on the Internet, brought to you by the Orland Park Public Library. My name is Joe, and I'm going to be the host for today. I'm just going to let it a little bit of time go by just to let everybody kind of join in. Whoever's playing, I'll give it about 5 minutes. Okay. Let's see. We'll get started by 7:05, so it'll give an extra amount of time for anybody else who wants to join. Okay. Well, before I officially start the presentation, I'll just kind of do a little intro for this. Well, this is called Shopping on the Internet. It encompasses a large amount of stuff relating to how to buy, where to buy, how to safely shop, and how things kind of work. So yeah, we'll be covering the most popular sites like Amazon, eBay, Google Shop, and Jet and stuff like that. So we'll kind of do an over view on everything. So we touch base with kind of everything. So, okay. We'll get started now, and then if anybody else floats in, we'll just get him all catched up. So this is Shopping on the Internet, and let's get this here. Online shopping will be shopping. This is kind of like a broad term because most people actually do shop on the internet opposed to in person, even nowadays with the pandemic being around now. But basically, the e-commerce sales are expected to double between 2016 and now. So that's always great. And as of April 2017, 40% of American consumers bought items several times a month, which is expected. I mean, it could be something small like anything from kitchen utensils or just anything around the house kind of stuff. And then 73% of American consumers shopped online for Cyber Monday in 2016, which is a hefty amount because, of course, of all the deals that you'd get opposed to going physically in person. And you sometimes might find something that you might want, and then you do a little bit of research on the side while you're looking at it. So then you kind of get a little foot in of what it might be, and you might end up walking out buying something that you may have not walked in thinking you wanted or needed. So, and then there is 14% of American consumers search for and research products online and then buy in store. So sometimes people will just browse online on any store, whether it be Amazon, eBay, and then, like I said before, they'll get kind of a feel for what they want or what they might need. And then usually they'll want to kind of get a hands-on experience, or sometimes they want to see something else that they might have in-store post online, because sometimes online is kind of store specific with the inventory it shows on when you actually search for some stuff, that you could see what they have at your local store of wherever it might be, whether it be Walmart or Target or something like that. So you can kind of see if they have different colors and something or anything like that. So it's driven by convenience, discounts, and ability search, which basically means that online shopping is mostly built on something that's easy to access, easy to do, kind of in the comfort of your own home. And that, like I said before, that you might have some discounts, like what I mentioned before with Cyber Monday, that you can't get in store physically like you would on a Black Friday, or sometimes that they'll kind of give you a week or two of a kind of discount for making a new account, or you might have buy two, get one free that you'd only get online in that online experience. So that's kind of a little thing there that explains it. And then basic safety tips when shopping. So always keep your systems updated, whether it be iOS, Android, Windows, because sometimes that could end up hindering your online shopping experience, just in between cutting in the moment or anything like that. And then when you see the HTTPS, it means it's secure and it's encrypted. So what that means is that, unlike HTTP, which it means it's an unsecure site that basically doesn't encrypt data, which means that anything you buy online and use your credit card or debit card, or adding any personal information like address, email, and stuff like that, will be confidential between you and whomever you're buying from, like say Walmart, Target, or something like that. So then you don't have to worry about your data, whether it be, like I said, address, card information, shared with anybody else beside you and the consumer. And right here it says share as little information as possible. It's a true and untrue kind of thing, where sometimes when I go and buy online, I would just press next on the bottom when I go to the cart, and then it'll say next, and then I'll get to see what kind of fields it needs, instead of adding in any optional information that you may or may not need to add as part of your buying experience. So, and then if you're buying from an unknown seller, look at the seller reviews and ratings. This more or less so applies to Amazon and eBay, because with those two sites, it's more of there's companies that do sell or there's individuals that sell. And then this kind of gives you a insight of people's buying history and seeing if, say, if the person or company didn't send on time, or gives you a history of, hey, if they give good refunds or they are fast at getting back to their customers or something like that. So then, when you're looking online on, say, Amazon or eBay, if you see like a 95% approved score with that seller, you'll know exactly that you'll get a really good deal, as well as good communication between you and the seller. So that's always a good thing to keep in mind when you're buying on sites like those. And then next is make online shopping a routine. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be, which is pretty much self-explanatory with anything, which means that when doing that, the more you shop on Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com, Google, anything, that the more you do it, the more familiar you are with how to do it. And then this will lead to faster checkouts, or just learning kind of tips and tricks to kind of get the most out of your purchase. And use credit cards and be aware of the protections your credit card company offers against fraud and ID theft, which is a big help, because you don't have to worry about, say, buying something on eBay and then the seller ends up not sending you the item, you can't contact them, and they refuse to answer you back, but they still charged you. You can contact your credit card company or bank, and then this way you don't have to worry about if you happen across a site that isn't encrypted with the HTTPS before the www. That this way you can get your money refunded regardless, and you can kind of make sure that doesn't happen again, or you don't have to worry about your card kind of floating out there with an unencrypted site, and then you don't have to worry about your card information going out to someone else and then your stuff be compromised. So shop only when connected to private Wi-Fi networks or over cell networks. This is very, very helpful, because like this little part on the bottom that says don't shop while connected to the library's Wi-Fi. Anytime you see, say you walk into a Starbucks or a public place that has an open Wi-Fi, your stuff isn't actually private to you, because anybody who can tap into, say, their router or their server, that they can actually acquire what kind of information in packets as you're buying something online or using your own personal information online to them, so then they can use it for whatever reason. So that's why you'd always use your own private in-home network, because that's encrypted, or your own mobile data on a phone or laptop or anything like that, because then that way it would be more private and safe for you. So then you don't have to worry about your stuff being compromised. And then next is basic safety tips when shopping. I'll get out of that. So the first site we'll be talking about is Amazon.com. Amazon Prime's underneath it because it's its own subscription service, because then this way you'll get, with that, deals, you'll get free stuff like Prime Music, video, and stuff like that. So average monthly traffic is 1.87 billion, which has a 54.1% traffic share. It is the #1 online retailer at the moment. And also be aware of third parties, like I said before, because sometimes when you buy stuff on Amazon, that sometimes a seller, like a company or an individual seller, will say fulfillment by Amazon. That means if something happens, whether it be a package doesn't get delivered, or they're out of stock after you buy something, then they can reimburse you, because it's on Amazon, not the individual seller, to be able to get that stuff straightened out for you, so then you can get your stuff back. Whether if it, like I said before, if there's a kind of transaction that didn't go through or something that didn't get sent. So reviews are helpful to a degree, which when you go on say Amazon and then you see the used or the new price for something, you'll see the review of the seller, which you'll go to the bottom of the product page. You'll scroll down on the main page. I'll show this later on when I show everything else to kind of give a more hands-on experience with this, that this way you can kind of see like reviews, basically meaning if they got their stuff correctly shipped or refunds or deals or something like that. So then you know whether to trust a seller or not when you go down to buy a new or used item, and then you see what that information is. And then, like I was talking about before briefly about Amazon Prime, that will give you free shipping sometimes on certain items that may or may not be fulfilled by Amazon. You'll give different delivery options, whether it be, say, if you buy something straight up and then you get, say, like, oh, I buy something and it will come on November 15th, between the 15th and the 17th. Sometimes they'll give you a Prime option if you have Amazon Prime enabled when you sign up on Amazon, that they'll sometimes give you a closer to expedited shipping kind of range. So sometimes instead of getting like 15th to the 17th, you might get November 7th or 10th or something beforehand. So you don't have to worry about if something is urgent that you need to get your hands on, you'll get it faster. And then with Prime 2, you'll get Prime Music, which has a large library of stuff. You'll get Prime Video. And the thing is with those, there's some stuff that comes with the subscription that's free with the subscription. And then sometimes you'll get stuff that you have to buy on top of having a subscription, like sometimes movies, TV shows, certain albums. So then sometimes you'll have to add the extra thing that may not be a part of the Amazon Prime subscription. So then there's that. So next, I know that was kind of fast, but I'll leave the questions to the end. So if anybody has any questions, we'll cover that stuff at the end, and then I'll go in depth with the sites and show you kind of the stuff I was talking about before. So then now we're talking about eBay, which has the monthly traffic of 817.6 million, which has a 23.7% traffic share. And with this, unlike Amazon, sometimes eBay will give you a picture more often than not of what you're buying, if it's something used or new, so you can kind of see what the condition is. So then when you get it to you through the mail, you can see if it's in the right condition or not, or it's the right item or not. Because with Amazon, it's kind of hidden away, where sometimes with the listing, you'll see the kind of the picture underneath it, and it's kind of small and it's kind of hard to find. So eBay's better for stuff like that. And then, like it's stated here, great way to make money if you know what you're doing, because sometimes, more so with eBay than Amazon, you can do a more direct contact with your customer, where you can kind of change the pricing depending on what kind of deal you want, or maybe you can kind of get something added to it. Like, say, especially with something before that I've dealt with, where something can be found that I want to buy from a seller, and sometimes it's easy on here to substitute something that they might have, and then they can send it to you instead of either you can choose to get refunded, or you can kind of get your compensation with like another kind of thing, whether it be if you're trying to buy a DVD, and then sometimes if they don't have it, can't find it, then they can actually send you something else instead, or like I said, compensate you back your money that you spent for initially. So just like with Amazon, sellers you know and don't know, check feedback on sellers. It's more apparent on eBay than Amazon, because when you go to the listing on eBay, it'll give you like each listing separate. It's not like it's under one umbrella like Amazon is, where if you say, oh, I want these headphones, it's like, oh, here's this headphone and here's all these sellers. But with eBay, each listing is separate. So if you look up the specific type of headphone, then you'll get 5, 10, 15, 20 different listings of the same headphones. And then you'll click on the entry, and then you'll see on the right-hand corner the seller feedback. And then that way, that'll help you decide if you want to buy from that seller or not. So that'll be a big help. And then there's also a lot of buying options, whether it be buy outright, best offer, and you can also bid in a live auction, which is better sometimes than Amazon because it'll give you the option of buy it now, add to cart. You can, like with bidding, you can end up getting a cheaper price than buying something outright. Like say if you see a pair of headphones that are kind of expensive, like 60, 70 bucks, sometimes someone will throw the same headphones in even a new condition, and then you can actually get a big price reduction via bidding, because sometimes they'll start it at like $5. And then with bidding, you can input your when you make an eBay account, you can actually make your bid, and then over time there'll be more people bidding on the same thing, and then it's kind of like a bidding war. So then you can kind of see how high someone would go to buy, and sometimes you end up buying something via bid cheaper, even 20, 30, 40, $50 cheaper than buying it outright sometimes. So that's kind of a big bonus. So next is Jet. And Jet now, since this is an older slide, that Jet has been merged into Walmart.com. So when you say go www.jet.com, it'll automatically redirect you to Walmart.com, because since they bought them a time ago, so they just merged. And this is Jet's old traffic, which has 339 million and a 9.8% traffic share. And like I said before, Jet.com was purchased by Walmart. So then you get redirected every time you type in the URL. So they do have a large array of products, especially home goods and clothing. You order online, pick up in store. It's just like with Walmart, where there's grocery delivery. So you'll go on Walmart.com, and then you can, like with Walmart, you could see say sometimes there's separate sellers that are selling through Walmart or Walmart themselves. So then you get the option of ordering online. You can have it delivered to your home, or if you want to save on shipping, sometimes you can set it up to pick up at your local Walmart. So then you can actually see what it is. And if you don't want it, you don't have to worry about, you can actually refund in store, and you end up saving the money that you would for delivery. Instead of that, you'd pick it up in store. So, and also there is grocery delivery sometimes with Walmart, just like with Jewel.com, like Jewelosco.com or Target, sometimes they'll have grocery delivery. So you'd order, and then someone else affiliated with them or a sort of like small van or truck will deliver your groceries to you instead of you going out. Some people are physically disabled, or they can't have the time, or they can't get there, then that's always another option. And then next is Etsy. Etsy's pretty big out there. And what Etsy is it's more of kind of like a Pinterest, where there's kind of handmade stuff that are made that may not be from an official site or place or manufacturer. And then it's more of like a direct person to person kind of thing. So you kind of get homemade stuff sometimes that sometimes are cool. I mean, I've bought some homemade stuff that isn't officially made by the official place. Like for instance, like merchandise from a TV show or a movie. Sometimes people will make some cool handmade stuff that the official places themselves don't even license or make. So that's always a good thing. And then it has 120.4 million monthly traffic and a 3.5% traffic share. And always read the reviews, just like with the other sites, where sometimes products are not always well vetted, so buyer beware. So sometimes, like I said before, where sometimes the buyer and the seller kind of do their own thing, and then sometimes the seller may not give you sometimes what you see the photo to be or what they advertise, and you might not get something else with a lower quality product or something. So then this way you can actually get your stuff and just be very cautious about what you buy on there specifically, because it may or may not be fulfilling with that. So next is Target. Everybody knows Target. It's just like with Walmart, where it's a physical grocery store as well as online. It has a monthly traffic of 117.4 million and traffic share of 3.4%. And it is a hugely popular box retailer, just like Walmart. I mean, they're pretty much in every corner of the block. And just like with Walmart, you can order online, and also there is curbside pickup now with outside and inside the pandemic, just like how Walmart kind of does now and many other stores now. And then as a large wave of products, just like how Walmart does, where like with Walmart and big box retailers like that they'll give you, say, their own products that they make in-house, their own in-house brands. Sometimes they'll have stuff online that, like I said before, you can get better deals, or you can get a code that you can get a retail price dropped to a certain amount. And like you can do still in-store pickup if you want to save the shipping, or you can have a delivery. Doesn't matter. It's kind of the same thing as Walmart in that aspect. So I don't spend too much time on that. And now there's Google Shopping. And it's way different from the previous examples. It's very simple and operates off of a Google search. So say you are looking for something very specific, like a movie, like, oh, I want to look up Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray. And when you do a normal Google search, you can kind of see on the top hand corner of the screen, and you'll see stuff like web, images, video, and then you'll see a shopping tab. So then it's more of like a curation of different sites on the page. So you might get advertisement from Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Target, and then it'll give you a link for it, so you can click on it and then you'll get redirected to their site and you can buy something, and you can also compare and contrast kind of prices. So then you can see kind of with what you can get a better price with. And then, like I said, where Google sells some things, but suggestions are from other retailers, and know where the purchase is coming from. So be very cautious and in mind of where you're buying from or what the links are from. Say, kind of buy from something that's more reputable, like Amazon, Walmart, Target, like big box stores or big online stores like eBay and stuff like that. So you know you're getting your product from a reliable source. So there's that. And there's other things to talk about and look for that you need to check and double check that the seller. I'm gonna move my window around over here. Make sure the seller and the number of items are lined up, and move myself back over here and make sure everything's straight up with what you're buying and what you're selling. And then check delivery times. They can vary widely. Sometimes, like with a storm, or if you're buying on a Friday or Saturday, and sometimes stuff ships and doesn't sometimes ship on Sundays. And sometimes you can see when you buy something, you'll get a email confirmation and you'll get a tracking number, whether it be from USPS, UPS, FedEx, and you can kind of sometimes on Amazon and eBay, they'll give you like an estimated time. So they'll give you like, oh, 15th to the 17th, but they don't give you an exact date. When they send you stuff via the email confirmation, they'll give you a tracking number. So then when you go to that tracking number, they'll give you an exact or close to exact time and date and where the package is at any given time. So then you can kind of plan ahead to see if you're going to be home or whatever, and you can see if you can actually get your stuff on time, and you can plan out for that. And then also know your shipping costs and when shipping is not free. So sometimes when you check out, like I said before, you'll see in the cart that you'll see if the different shipping options and the pricing. Sometimes you'll get free shipping, and sometimes the expedited shipping. Sometimes they'll give you only 2 options, 3 options. So just keep that in mind. And then know the return policies and warranties. I know there's certain parts of the site, I'll show you guys later, that you'll see there's like a policy and warranties page. So you can kind of see on the bottom, like, okay, we'll fulfill up to a certain amount, or this is how our return policy is. You can kind of give the address of where you need to send it back if it's broken or something like that. So keep that in mind. And then also always save the emailed receipts, because sometimes if you delete the stuff before it shipped out, it might not ship. And for instance, it might not ship, and then you don't have any kind of record of what you bought when you bought it and how much it was. So you can't get a refund or anything, because sometimes it can be kind of dodgy like that. And also there's also other places like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, etc., which is a safe place for inspection and pickup, which is police station, library. So always pick that in mind, whether it be, especially with Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, that it's more of a person to person. So you, unlike Amazon or eBay, where they just ship it to you, you meet the person in person, and you cut out the shipping costs and whatnot if they're local, and then you just give them the money and they give you the product kind of live in person. So always pick a safe place like those two or something like that. So you don't have to worry about getting stolen from or anything like that, because let's face facts, it's a thing that happens. So always keep that in mind. And then know enough about the product you're buying to make an informed decision. So don't go into buying anything kind of blindly, and always make sure what you're buying is, and always check the price on Amazon, eBay, and see what they're selling and what they're selling it at. So then you can kind of see what the price that product is trending at. So then when you meet the person, if you contact the person when you're talking to Craigslist or Facebook, then you can actually sometimes get their stuff brought down more, and also you can make sure the product is working so to its most fullest, so you don't worry about getting ripped off or anything. So that's always good in mind. And then no guarantees, everything is as is. It's just like with anything else, where on eBay or Amazon, yeah. So with this, that you can actually make sure that whatever you're buying, just like more so with eBay than Amazon, you get a picture of what it looks like. So make sure it is what you see it to be online, so you don't have to worry about getting ripped off. And also, don't be afraid to walk away. I mean, it's not a guaranteed thing. Nothing's guaranteed. It's like walking to a car dealership or anything. It's only over when you actually sign the papers or make the transaction. You can just walk away and say, you buy, like I was using before example, like buying a DVD or headphones. If it's too expensive or not in the right condition, you can always just say, hey, I don't want to buy it. It's not the condition that I bought it in. And or you can always still see if what you're buying is in the condition, so then you can worry about not getting ripped off. And also share no personal information. Do not accept or use personal checks as payment, because like I said before, stuff like that's kind of sketchy, where if anything, I wouldn't share any personal information, whether it be addresses if you want to meet or anything, or phone numbers or card numbers or anything. Just make sure if you're meeting with someone in person to use cash, or if you're selling, don't use personal checks, because with personal checks, somebody can write out a specific amount like, oh, $100. And then if their bank account doesn't have that amount of money in there, the check can bounce and you give them the item, and then you basically lose your item you're trying to sell and you have a bounced check. So I would always be very mindful with personal checks as payment. And that's it. Well, that was a lot of information that I kind of went through at a semi-fast pace, but I'm gonna leave it out this time. We spent about 35 minutes about with the class. So I'm Joe, and I'm an IT2 at the Orland Park Library. This is my extension to reach me if you have any questions, or here's my email address you want to get in contact with me if you have something more private you want to share. And down here is the upcoming classes, which on the 10th of November, there's a Microsoft 365 class, which is an online version of Office and stuff like that, where you can cover Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and stuff like that. So that's a good opportunity. And same thing with the 16th of November, which is Google Switch I'm teaching, which it's just like with 365 for Office online, but it's for Google, like with Gmail, Google Docs, Sheets, stuff like that. So there's an option there. And then I'm also teaching a class on the 7th of December, which is Intro to 3D Printing. So that pretty much talks about, since we have 3D printers here, and there's also 3D printers you can buy from other sources, that you can buy or use, and then you can actually make 3D objects through certain programs, or there are certain sites you can have preset models of stuff. Say if you want to make a keychain or a mini statue or something like that, or a replacement headpiece or anything, you can actually create that or find other places that make that, and then you can actually print out yourself. So that's kind of helpful. And then there's also a class on the 15th of December, which is Intro to Raspberry Pi, which a Raspberry Pi is basically a mini computer. It's kind of like a little box, and it has all the inner workings of like a computer, but not being as big as a computer. So mostly what we use for at the library is morely for kind of stuff like websites. Like we have like OPAC machines that have just the catalog on it or something small, so you can kind of save space. So that's a very good class to join. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the slides. I'll go and share the screen of Chrome that I'm in right now, and I'll show you the kind of websites in a more in-depth kind of visual way. So I'm leaving the rest of this time open for me kind of going through that stuff, and if anybody has any questions. So I'll leave that open. I'm going to change over to this. So feel free to ask any questions at any time, and I'll show everything kind of as is. So here is Amazon.com. And like I said before, this is kind of like a cool place to buy stuff because this is the most trafficked site online. So here's kind of the front page. As you see, I'm kind of scrolling through. There's ways of stuff like that. So like I said before, where if I want to say find like Harry Potter, the Prisoner of Azkaban, and then say here's the digital version, here's the audiobook version, here's Amazon Prime Video. So let's say you want to buy let's say if you want to buy this illustrated edition of book 3. You see right here, it says hardcover. Sometimes they'll give a soft cover kind of option. So if I click here, yeah, it'll give you kind of the price, the new from, used from. So if you go and click on the price, you see on the side right here, you'll see the different sellers like Superbook Deals, Game Force Incorporated, and stuff like that. So you see what the seller name is, and then it'll sort of, you can also filter it by Prime if it has free shipping, the condition, and then you can choose to add to cart, and it'll show you the right here the feedback over a certain amount of time and stuff like that. So then kind of gives you stuff like that, so you can choose what to buy, and it also tells you how many ratings they've gotten. So say I want to add this to cart, you can go to proceed to checkout, and then this would, you would enter in your account that you have with Amazon already or your Amazon account, and then you would check out like you normally would. And right here is try Prime. Here's kind of the information. It's $12.99 a month, and it includes fast free shipping. You have stuff that's, like I said before, that's along with the subscription, free movies, TV shows, or music. But sometimes things aren't always free online with the Amazon Prime membership. There's stuff that you have to buy separately on top of the subscription. So keep that in mind. And then there is member deals. You can get Kindle books and stuff like that. That's also something I didn't mention before. And also you can get unlimited free photo storage with Amazon Photos. So here's a little bit of that. So that's pretty much that. And there's also returns and stuff like that. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask any time. So here's eBay. And just like with Amazon, it works similarly. I'll kind of give a brief kind of look of it. And here's a little bit of that. So then, like if I look for the same thing on here, it's kind of a different view. Like for this, like for a similar thing, let me see if I can try to find it. Or let me just choose the base book. See how right here it kind of gives you more options. You can choose to buy it now. If you click on auction, you see the bidding prices. You can see sometimes it's cheaper as like $1.49, something like that. So then you'd go here. And if you have an eBay account, you can choose to bid. And right now, starting bids at this price, then you would type that in and then you'd place the bid. And then over amount of time, it'll get higher and higher, and then the bid will close, and then the seller usually contacts you. So there's that. You can also add a watch list if you don't want the thing now and you want to find a better price for it. And then say if you want to buy it now. And there's also a condition drop down where you can see like if you want to list everything to be brand new or something, you get the kind of listings right here. And then you can click on this, like sometimes, like I said before, see here where you can actually see a picture of whatever it is more so than a stock photo. So you can see what it should look like before you get it. So there's that. There's a seller right here. You can see how much feedback. Right here it says 100% positive feedback. And then you can save the seller, contact them, and you can also ask some questions before you buy. Down here, it'll show you like item specifications. They'll tell you like the product type, title, language. Sometimes the seller will put on the bottom like a category section. And then down here, you'll see how many people have rated this product from this seller. You'll get kind of other kind of recommendations on the bottom, and then you'll get some information on here like about eBay and stuff like that. So that's eBay. And here is Walmart. Like I said before, if I were to type in jet.com, it'll redirect to Walmart since Walmart acquired it and then they merged, and then everything gets redirected from here if you type in jet.com. And like I said before, if you Here's Walmart a little bit. Walmart also has their, yep, it says right here, groceries and even more. You can actually start your order. And with this, here's walmart.com/grocery, so you can get started. Say if you don't have anything, if you can't go to a store in person or anything, you don't have the time, you can go to grocery right here, order pickup or delivery now. So here is walmart.com/grocery. So if you want to look for like milk or something, you could search it, and then they'll give you a listing of stuff right here. And it'll give you options and how much percent per fluid ounce. You can add a cart and stuff like that. So you kind of gives you a kind of grocery list. So you can actually choose to check out or delivery. So that's always good. And then right here, you can also say, look for the same thing. Books. And then you can see right here, sometimes they're straight from Walmart themselves, or sometimes there might be third-party sellers like Should I Book Express or Oblio LLC. So that's always an option. I'll go to Target first because they'll be easier to explain, just like with Walmart where there's pick on delivery. You can choose same day delivery, drive up, order pickup, and then same thing with this. You'll see you have an option right here. And with this, you'll have a quantity, shipping and returns policy. Sometimes there's questions. You get recommendations, frequently bought together. Here's the guest ratings reviews. So there's that. So it works very much the same as Walmart does. And here's Etsy. So these are homemade stuff. So like if I want to look for something like home decor, like if the Wizarding World didn't have something specifically that they licensed that I think you think is pretty cool, like, oh, here's this Deathly Hallows ornament piece that's handmade, that's 3D printed, which go and ties with the 3D prints class and whatnot. You can buy that's actually made by people, and this may not be something that they actually sell themselves, which you can add to your collection. And here's the feedback. And then here's recommendations. You can select different colors and stuff like that for any items. You can add them to cart. So this is always like a nice thing, a nice alternative to buying stuff legit that you may or may not you want, and then they don't actually sell them, like the sweaters and stuff like that. So, and then with Google Shopping, I open it up from here, but if I go to say google.com, and then I type in the same thing, and then you'll see right here shopping, like you can see with books and stuff like that. And then you'll see different options like with the book, the DVDs. So then each one will say like Walmart. So keep that in mind, Barnes & Noble, Target, rely on stuff that you've actually heard of. And then like the official Warner Brothers shop. So then when you click on one of these, visit site, and then it'll redirect you to the site that they're selling it at instead of having to go to Target and search it yourself. So sometimes people do Google searches and then they might want something and they can always search it that way. So there's that. So yeah, that's very much it. So if there's any questions, just let me know. I'm gonna end the class in a bit. I'll give the last about 5 to 10 minutes for questions. So feel free to ask away. Yeah, I mean, shopping on the internet sounds like a scary thing, but it really isn't. It's very straightforward. and everything's pretty much self-explanatory. So, okay, I'll let this go on for a little bit longer. If there's any questions, feel free to ask. So, yeah, I mean, shopping on the internet's much more convenient than buying in person, because sometimes you'll get, like I said, good deals. Sometimes you'll find something you may not have thought existed or wanted, and it's kind of like a funny domino effect a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's very self-explanatory. So, well, I mean, if there isn't any questions, I'll just end it here. So this was shopping on the internet with Joe, and thank you for stopping by.